Hi, classmates. So I'll start with a fun memory from my field work, and that is definitely a highlight, at least. It was Halloween. It was such a fun day. The kids were just so full of energy, but surprisingly stayed on task, and for the most part stayed, steady and in control. Sorry. Um, it was just a really great day of them running up and showing me their costumes. They were so proud. They were so excited. They loved my costume, which was super simple. It was just butterfly wings that attached to my fingers. So they didn't like point or stick out, but if I moved my arms and pretended to be flying, it looked like butterfly wings. So of course kids made me do that 1,000 times during the day. It was just so fun to see them, so filled with joy and pride and excitement. So now to the readings. The first reading, The Evolution of Family-Centered Services. I 1000% love this reading and totally agreed with how, the family has to be centered in children's education plans, and especially for children who, need a little more support. Families are our best resource to know what's going on at home, what the history of this child has been, what the growth has been, what the development has been, what they're struggling with at home that we can help to support them with. And I just really felt really felt strongly about this reading that, the family is a primary force for young children. They're the ones that are going to advocate the strongest, and they're the ones that are going to have the best knowledge of the child and what that child, is needing foundationally. And then we as educators, hopefully have the training that we need to go in and see what we see and, give the child all the support they need. But absolutely, early intervention and centering the family as partners in decision making, it feels like a no-brainer to me. And the embedded learning opportunities, I'm sorry about the cough, the intentional instructional practices that are embedded into everyday routines, another one. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. Kids learning together, recognizing their strengths together, and trying to keep as much of the learning in a familiar context. Like that just, it's everything that we've been learning, how children do so much better when things, when things are relevant to them, and putting children of all different abilities together and allowing them to support each other. I just feel like it's so valuable. In my field work, we have, for this quarter, there are a couple students who have IEPs. There are 2 children that are autistic, and they're largely nonverbal. And the teachers can ask these students to get on task, come have a seat, come sit with us, come do what we're doing, or, walk in the line. Oh, great, here's an airplane. Walk in a line with us, and all it takes is another student that's the same size as them, that's their peer, to grab their hand, and they will walk. They will walk as though, of course they're going to walk. So that peer positive reinforcement is so important. And I'm seeing it happen. I'm seeing it happen that when the entire group of students are doing something, the child who might normally not listen to an adult telling them what to do will gladly be guided by their peers. And then lastly, the Embracing Anti-Bias Classrooms, our textbook, recognizing that children can see race, children see differences. Of course they do. How could we think anything otherwise? And that adults that we need to pay attention to what we're seeing, and we need to act. It's not just about cataloging or, taking notes. We need to act. We need to be proactive. And we also need to act when we see things that aren't right. We can't look away, as the author says. We need to confront. We need to help children work through these. And that is for sure complicated when, we can see clearly that we're going against maybe what a household is trying to teach their children. But the reality is we're preparing these students to be in the real world with each other. And we need to do that successfully. And that means that we need to do that. We need to prepare them to work in diverse communities. So Luckily, I haven't had too many issues with that in my field work, but I definitely did as a student. So I appreciate any efforts people make to prevent that from perpetuating.